Australia's beautiful Crown Melbourne, host of the Southern Hemisphere's premier poker tournament, the 2008 Aussie Millions. This week began with a record field of 780 players, and tonight we're down under 100 survivors. Yes! Among them are 4 poker heavyweights in search of the $1.65 million top prize. Eric Lindgren is deep stacked and dangerous. It's been 3 years since his last big win, and the man they call E-Dog is looking to regain his bite.
When you're very confident and you feel like things are going to go right, that's when you can bam, 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 knock a few of these off in a row, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Eric Seidel has 8 World Series bracelets, a Hall of Fame resume, and he knows what it takes to win it all.
It takes making a lot of good decisions, and you really have to avoid the one dumb mistake that's going to bust you in the tournament.
These two know plenty about that one dumb mistake. Because when it comes to blow-ups, perhaps no two players have had more experience than Andrew Black and Mike Matasow.
You know, I'm basically an idiot a lot of the time.
I feel myself when I go on tilt, and I can't stop it. I suck.
If I get a little bit kinked off, then I can just kind of completely collapse. So that's how it's going to be. That was terrible.
Tonight, see who'll survive and who'll be sent packing, and who'll be one step closer to collecting this pile of cash. FullTiltPoker.net presents the Aussie Millions. It's day 3 of the Aussie Millions, and action already underway from here at the Crown Melbourne. I'm Barry Tompkins, alongside noted poker author Michael Koenig. One player will be taking home the top prize of $1.65 million.
I'm not here to make millions. I'm here to make billions.
That's Mike Matasow. He only has half the average stack. He'll have to double up quickly to stick around.
Eric Lindgren, very dangerous player. His chip count over 191,000.
Keith Sexton, on the other hand, serious danger of finishing out of the money.
But they are all chasing this man, 24-year-old Matt Lagarde, the chip leader, 508,000. Let's take you upstairs to our feature table where Andrew Black sits. He finished 3rd in the 2007 Aussie Millions, a very dangerous player.
And Eric Seidel has more World Series of Poker bracelets than anyone left in the field. He knows how to win.
Let's take a look at the chip count at our main table. Matthew Stout's the chip leader, but look at Andrew Black and Eric Seidel, both looming and very dangerous. 96 players remaining in the field, but remember, only the top 80 will get paid. The blinds here, 2,000 and 4,000 with a 500 ante. This is Nino Murata, and he'll fold. So too will Matthew Stout. Kevin Saul, a 27-year-old pro from Chicago, will fold, and so will our short stack, Leo Boxell. Action now over to Andy Black, who looks down at a pair of 5s. Black's going to raise it up to 10,500. Seidel folds, and so does Nick Putt. Now John D'Alessandri.
He will not be folding.
Not with a pair of aces. Melbourne native playing on his home turf here, counting out a raise. 35,000. Now a decision for Black.
How much more have you got?
Probably about 90 or 80.
That 35,000 represents about a quarter of D'Alessandri's stack. For Andrew Black, it's mere pocket change.
And he does call. 2 to the first flop of the night, King 10-9.
And I can certainly see D'Alessandri just shoving it all in right here.
I'm all in.
There he goes.
Nope.
Andrew Black says, no, thank you, and will fold.
You had a 9, huh? I seen it when you thrown it.
It's not a 9.
Wasn't 9?
No.
But wasn't 9 good?
We'll have to watch the replay.
That's no good. You're just winding me up now. Upsetting me.
Tom, yeah, deuces, put him on tilt for us.
You don't need to try and put me on tilt, mate.
Yeah,
I exist on tilt. Yeah. That's the space I'm trying to get into.
He doesn't tilt, he's a professional.
That's right. No professionals ever tilt. Everyone knows that.
What's the situation downstairs, Jono?
They're taking their time.
I need to know who's got short stacks and how much.
Well, as we get closer to the money, you can see that many players become very concerned with just cashing. And right now, Eric Lindgren has called the all-in of 46-year-old Michael Russell. Lindgren's kings trailing Russell's aces. Eric is going to need some help here. To the flop. 10-6 deuce.
Very safe flop for Michael Russell. Eric Lindgren, on the other hand, is looking for a king. He was very healthy at the start of this hand.
Turn is a 9 of spades.
And with one card to go, Michael Russell is very close to securing his place in the money.
The river is another 9, and Russell will pick up a pot worth more than $230,000, and the chip count of Eric Lindgren drops dramatically. Quickly now over to table 30, where Mike Matisow has moved all in. He's got pocket 9s. He's been called by the ace-king of Con Angelakis. Matisow looking to win this coin flip and get an early double up here. The flop, 10 and a pair of 6s.
That's a safe flop for Matisow. He just needs to dodge 2 more cards, and he will double through.
On the turn, a deuce of diamonds.
Angelakis looking for an ace or a king. Otherwise, Matisow is up to $165,000.
Here is the river. It's an ace! And Matisow is gone! Mike Matisow was on the verge of doubling up and getting some chips that would have made him a force in this tournament. And just like that, he's looking at a long trip back home.
We play for big pots, small stakes, and the chance to say, read 'em and weep. For the weekends, the all-nighters, and the lunch hour. We play for the legends and for the unknowns who dream of winning it all. For the bad beats and the pocket kings we sometimes have the sense to fold. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Welcome back to the Crown Melbourne and the 2008 Aussie Millions. Well, the record field continuing to shrink as the dash for the cash continues. Some players just trying to survive.
I can't handle this. I'm going to have a heart attack, I reckon.
While others have different goals in mind. Back downstairs, we're inching closer and closer to the money. Moments ago, Keith Sexton was all in for his remaining chips, pocket 10s, and leading the ace-king of Jay Melancon after the turn. Sexton needed to avoid an ace or a king on the river to double up, but an ace came off on the end, and a disappointed Keith Sexton was eliminated 8 places from the money. Picking up the action to table 30, where Keith's son, Matt Sexton, has moved all in, with the same hand as his dad, pocket 10s. Keith and his brother Paul looking on, hoping Matt's 10s will hold up against Tyler Cornell, who turned over Queen Jack, looking to finish off all the Sextons. The flop, pair of aces and a tray.
Sexton needs to dodge running flush cards or a queen or jack.
To the turn, 3 of spades.
Now there are only 6 cards in the deck that beat Sexton, the queens and the jacks.
And the river. It's a queen! Unbelievable. Matt Sexton's taken out of this tournament. He'll be in 84th place. He and his father both rivered with pocket 10s, now both leave together on the wrong side of the money. So only 83 players of the 780 that began remain. The top 80 get paid. Matt Lagarde's the chip leader. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with Michael Koenig. And Michael, we are now just 3 eliminations away from that point where everybody gets a paycheck. How does that affect play?
What it does is turn our poker tournament into what political scientists would call a broken economy. The rich get richer. There's 2 classes of player. The player with big stack and the player with small stack. The big stacks will feast on the small stacks. We're going to watch to see who goes into a shell and tries to survive, and who is going to take advantage of the situation and build that stack.
Back to action now at our feature table. Eric Seidel going to fold. Likewise, Nick Putt. Now John D'Alessandri also folds. Over to 55-year-old Nino Murata from Perth, Australia, with an ace-10. And he'll call 4,000.
Curiously foregoing the raise.
And fold around now to our short stack, Leo Boxell. Looking at an ace-6 suited. He has just 37,000 left.
I wonder whether I should invest a couple of grand or not. Or just wait. I wish I knew what was going on down there. Well, it's got a big bearing on what I do.
And here is the vexing quandary of the short stack.
I tell you right now, if the bubble had burst, the chips would be all in on this hand, but it's a case of what to do.
And so he considers both sides of the issue. Remember, only 80 players get paid, and 80th place worth $15,000. So he'll fold. Now Andy Black for the deuce 7.
Late position. No one has shown any strength in front of him. Plenty of chips. Let's see if Andy Black wants to play some poker.
Always.
And he's going to raise it up. 20,000 to Nino Murata.
I'm going to re-raise.
No nonsense from Murata. He's got a big stack too, remember.
He too can play some poker. So Black made a move.
40.
Murata caught him, gave his wrist a little slap while it was stuck in the cookie jar, and with that 40,000 chip raise, this hand should be over.
And he'll fold. Well played by Nino Murata. Takes in a pot worth about 86,000. And he shows Andy Black the ace.
Two big stacks frolicking while the short stack sweated out.
Well, back to the poker room where just 81 remain. And over on table 30, Charles Cuschieri has pushed his remaining chips all in. He's got an ace-3, and he's in danger of going out to the pocket jacks of the Frenchman, Jean Giannotti. Cuschieri now on the bubble. The flop is a queen 10-6.
Cuschieri looking for running straight cards or an ace.
The turn, a 7 of hearts.
3 aces are all that can keep Cuschieri in this tournament.
The whole room is watching this river card. It is a 7. Cuschieri's going to finish 81st, 1 from the money. Great news to the rest of the field.
Congratulations, you're in the money.
Well, the room erupts, and the remaining players can now breathe just a little bit easier, knowing that all those hours of play have put some cash back in their pockets.
Left, finish, money.
So the race to the big money gets serious when we come back. Welcome back to day 3 of the Aussie Millions from the Crown Melbourne here in Australia. Right now, Lucio Baroni is challenging a ruling that he was eliminated on the same hand as Charles Cuschieri. Baroni's awaiting the decision from tournament director Danny McDonough, who's looking into the matter.
All the players, you were on the same hand. You were waiting to see what happened to this guy. You're eligible for half, 7,500. I'm not making any further investigation.
And there you have it. McDonough decides that Cuschieri will get some cash after all. He'll split 80th money with Baroni, and they'll both receive $7,500. So in the end, looks like everybody's happy, except for Lucio. Back to our feature table now. Nino Murata, going to fold. So too will Matthew Stout. Now Kevin Saul, 3 WPT final tables in the last couple of years. He'll fold. So too will Leo Boxell. Now Andy Black.
He merely calls with the pocket 4s.
Eric Seidel now. He's got pocket 5s. And looks like he's counting on a raise here. He'll raise to 24,000. Dinkless putt. And putt with a pair of jacks.
A lot of players will raise here.
Oh, cool.
He calls.
Don't like that play, Barry. Putts in the small blind. He'll have to act first after the flop.
Andy Black is going to call 20,000. So 3 players to the flop. A queen, 9, 6, couple of diamonds on the flop.
Putt did not want to see that overcard, that queen, and he just checks it.
Check.
Andy Black likewise will check.
Seidel in late position. No one showing any interest in this 80,000 chip pot. I expect him to fire.
55.
55,000.
And now the actions on Nick Putt, who has the best hand.
How much you got left there?
But he's put himself in the unenviable position of being a guesser. He doesn't know where he's at.
Well, I played it wrong, so I'm out.
Well, he did, and he is. Now Andy Black. He folds.
And that's how you win tournaments, picking up pots that aren't rightfully yours.
Well, Eric Seidel already owns 8 World Series bracelets. It ties him for 4th all time. But even without those accolades, Eric has earned much respect from his peers.
Eric Seidel, I'm a professional poker player.
Eric Seidel. Tenacious.
Eric is solid, man. He's a solid player.
A quiet fortitude.
He plays no limit hold'em the way it's supposed to be played.
Eric is one of the best tournament players I've ever played against. I hate it when I'm at his table.
Expressionless executioner.
I think naturally I'm not a very excitable person, so I'm not one of these people jumping up and down and screaming after every pot.
Eric Seidel is a type of player that you know what he's doing, and he knows that you know what he's doing, but he's going to do it anyway, because he knows that you know that he knows, and that's what everybody knows, and you can't do anything about it.
He loves to win. He's enormously competitive. He doesn't show it, he doesn't wear it on his sleeve. He doesn't have to tell you that he is. He just is.
Sorry. I think people get what they want out of this. So the guys who are running around screaming about themselves are getting what they want, which is the attention. For me, I'm just happy to play. I would just like to go off in a corner and play, play and see who wins.
When I started out playing tournament poker, that man was my role model. I was emotional, easily distracted, and Eric Seidel's calm, professional demeanor was an inspiration.
Yeah, one of the most respected players in the game, without question. Back to our feature table, Kevin Saul folds. And now Leo Boxell, our short stack at the table.
I'm all in.
And he's going all in.
Come on, I need to be about tripled up, guys.
For $24,500 with a 10-8. Action now folding around to John Delisandri with a pair of kings.
Let's make it 60.
Going to raise to 60,000. Enough to get Murata out. Likewise, Stout.
I don't know how he plays.
Nice. Oh, don't worry about it.
And Boxell now sees what he's faced with.
Come on, Wally. Do something with that. Like a routine. Be great.
For those who are not zoologists, Wally is a wombat.
Just a couple of 10s, a couple of 8s, a 10-8. And
to the flop. Ace, 8-5. A little bit of help for Boxell.
Come on, Walt, keep working on it,
Like
mate.
Bon Jovi, you're living on a prayer.
Find another 8.
He'll find it, he'll find it.
No, I don't think so.
Leo's the best. He normally always finds it. He gets it all the time.
To the turn, it's a 4 of diamonds.
I haven't got many outs.
Boxell and Wally are looking for another 8 or a 10. Otherwise, it's a return to the outback.
And the river is a 6 of spades.
Well done, Johnny.
Nice playing with you, sir.
Well, Leo Boxell is out, but his decision to wait and play this hand earns him 15,000 Australian.
Have a wombat, mate.
And he gives the wombat to Eric Seidel. And Seidel finds a home for it immediately.
Eric's looking for a little marsupial magic down under.
Well, back downstairs, Eric Lindgren's going to need some magic of his own right now. He's pushed his last 40,000 all in, and he was called by his nemesis today, Michael Russell. Lindgren's got to have some help. The flop, Jack 6-5, 3 hearts, wrong suit for Lindgren.
He does, however, pick up a chance for running straight cards.
To the turn, it's an 8 of clubs.
Lindgren can use a 7 to fill his straight or a 4 to pair up. Otherwise, he's done.
Now the river. It is a jack of diamonds, and that's going to end Eric Lindgren's 2008 Aussie Millions. He'll leave with 15,000. I'm sure he had his sights set higher than that when this day began. We're coming back. Welcome back to FullTiltPoker.net's coverage of the 2008 Aussie Millions Poker Championship. Well, the blinds are now 2,500 and 5,000 with an ante of 500 as we get back to our feature table. And a new player, Stephen Miller, 55-year-old marine biologist from Key Largo, Florida. Nino Murata folds, so too does Matthew Stout. Now Kevin Saul with a 4-deuce, he'll throw that away. Miller also folds. Now Andy Black. Ace 7, going to raise it to 13,000. Seidel and putt fold. Now Delisandri. He's got pocket 5s. And he'll call. So 2 players to the flop, Black and Delisandri. On the flop, 9-8 deuce. Couple of clubs.
This is the problem with small pairs up front.
D'Alessandri checks.
Flop will almost always bring over cards, and unless you make a set, you are forced to guess. In this case, D'Alessandri has way the better hand than Andrew Black, but it's hard for him to know, particularly when Black fires out a bet and shows strength.
25,000 to bet from Black.
Okay.
And that will be enough. So a nice pot for Andy Black. He's looking to improve his third-place finish in this event last year. He's had chip leads in 4 big tournaments this past year, but still looking for that elusive breakthrough win.
Came so close last year that I feel I've got a real chance to kind of do well this year. The whole thing suits me down here. Maybe it's because, you know, you have to actually stand upside down during the tournament. That helps, you know. Because you're in Australia. If you don't stand upside down, you fall off the edge of the world, of course.
We'll sing you a song, a rebel song.
It would mean, if I won this thing, that people would stop taking the absolute Michael out of me about the fact that I make loads of final tables, I get loads of chip leads, but I just, like, crack up, yeah? Should I give the fans what they want? Yeah, probably pound for pound, I make better decisions than most other people for longer periods of time. And then I make the worst decisions you can imagine, right?
The truth of the matter is, if you weren't having a go at me, this never would have happened.
I mean, I had all these chips, and then they were gone. Trying to get underneath that experience is tricky, you know. You think it's a serious medical condition if you're talking to yourself a lot. And I've worked very, very hard on being less of an idiot more of the time. So the fact that the spectacular end of my blow-ups is still there, it's okay, you know. Once I get that, beware. Once I sort that out, yeah, because the high end of my game is pretty good.
Andy Black, he is cut from a different cloth, but doing pretty well here. He's in 14th place right now and playing very solid poker.
Scientists still investigating which planet that cloth comes from.
You haven't even...
Mathematically.
You have 100,000.
That's on.
Action starts now with Steve Miller looking at an ace-queen here.
And this guy's no joker, Barry.
Going to raise it to 12,500. Andy Black folded. Now Eric Seidel with pocket tens.
And here's your classic no-limit hold'em coin flip.
All he does is call. Action folding around now. Murata folds. So does Stout. Now Kevin Saul. Deuce 5. Not going to do it. Kevin Saul has just been card dead. 2 players to the flop now, Seidel and Miller. And here is the flop. Oh, and what a flop for Miller.
And if you're Eric Seidel with a pair of tens, you generally are not delighted to see aces and kings hit the board.
25,000 is the bet to Seidel. And he is going to play right into Miller. Raises to 50,000.
And one of the things I think Seidel is considering is with 2 aces on the board, it makes it less likely that his opponent has one.
I'm all in.
And Miller going to push all in. 161,500.
I think Seidel can now safely determine that maybe he does have one of those cards.
That sucks.
Eloquent analysis from Eric Seidel.
So Seidel will fold, and Stephen Miller will win a handsome pot here, although a lot of the money that was in there was his own.
Nonetheless, he will take the money and run. On the other hand, I don't think Eric Seidel's a real big 80s rock fan at the moment.
Abracadabra, we're going to go downstairs. 49 players remaining. Among them, the last woman standing. She is Tiffany Williamson, sitting at just under the average stack. And at table 32, Jay Melancon, the man who took care of Keith Sexton a little bit earlier, now finds himself all in and trailing Max Pescatori's queens.
Pescatori, known as the Italian pirate for obvious reasons.
King 9-6 on the flop. Melancon's tournament on the line here.
He's looking for an ace or running spades.
It is a king of hearts on the turn.
3 cards to save Melancon, any ace for him, or otherwise it's over.
And the river's a jack of spades. So Jay Melancon's journey to Australia will end. He will leave with a paycheck of $20,000. Max Pescatori, one of the few recognizable pros remaining, up near $450,000 now. Meanwhile, Con Angelakis, the man who was dominating this tournament most of the way, finding himself all in against 67-year-old Antonio Casale from Melbourne. Angelakis will need to river an 8 or a 3 in order to stick around in this main event. And the river is a deuce. Antonio Casale has slayed the dragon. Con Angelakis, who at one time was a knockout machine, can now only watch things unfold from the rail.
Now, you don't bluff me. Even if you throw in all on the flop, I still call it.
Welcome back to the 2008 Aussie Millions from the Crown Melbourne. As familiar faces are shown the door, others are beginning to step up. And one player will take home $1.65 million in cash. We began with 780 players. There are now 46, with an average chip stack of 339,000. The chip leader now is Alexei Rosenberg with 700,000. At our feature table, Nino Murata and Matthew Stout are the chip leaders. Down at the low end, it's John Delisandri. We get back to the action at our feature table, where the blinds 2,500 and 5,000, the ante 500. Barry Tompkins, Michael Koenig alongside. Eric Seidel now with an ace and a king. So he'll play that. Going to raise to 14,000. Putt folds. Delisandri will do likewise, as will Murata. Matthew Stout as well. And now Kevin Saul. 10-5. And Kevin looking like he's going to count out some chips here.
Well, surely he can't be thinking of calling, Barry. Not with that hand. But raising is an option.
To 45,000. Action folds back to Eric Seidel.
Kevin Saul has been card dead. He's trying to make a move to kickstart his tournament. Unfortunately, he has run into a real hand.
Come on.
And Eric Seidel says all in for 175,000. And it's back to Kevin Saul.
Like 145 more, though?
It doesn't matter if it's 14 cents more. That's it for Kevin Saul.
Yeah, he will fold, so Eric Seidel is going to take down this pot.
And Kevin Saul is still searching for a winning play.
Can't call with the 10 and a 5. Well, I can't call with the 10 and 5, can I?
It can be frustrating when the cards run dry, and perhaps Kevin was heading to that place called Tilty Town. Good players try to avoid going there, but sometimes they just can't help passing through.
If I had to explain what going on tilt is it's just losing control of your emotions.
Maybe you get in with the best hand, and then on the river, your opponent catches a straight or a flush to beat you.
So you start doing things that you normally wouldn't do.
You're just firing chips in because you're kind of pissed.
I'm going to start playing those cards that he beat me with. You know, what am I waiting around for these aces when finally when I get them, they lose?
I am steaming! I am steaming now!
All of a sudden my hand is doing something, and I realize, then I go walking back to the box to get more money. I'm like, now why did that happen?
Yeah, it's almost like there's a short circuit.
You're not present. You're just not there. You know, you are out to lunch. You were gone. You were partying out somewhere else. Everyone's got their own personal, private hell version of tilt.
I tell you what, show me a pro that don't go on tilt, I tell you he's lying. That is impossible.
It's hard sometimes when you take a really nasty beat or when you have a huge draw that doesn't get there and it's happening time after time. It's really hard to keep yourself focused and in control of your emotions.
It's just you and your inner body trying to get yourself back out of there.
There is some emotional satisfaction being created. You're getting your frustration out, and I think that some players who know better feel like they need that. I think it's comforting.
Actually, when I'm on tilt, the first thing that's going through my mind is get off tilt. If you're going to stay in this game, get off tilt or go away, because you're destined to lose if you don't get off tilt.
When you step over that line into Tilty Town Barry, you are entering a world of pain.
Place nobody wants to be, and everybody at some point or other is. Back to the feature table, John D'Alessandro folds.
Raise.
Now Nina Murata with the king-queen. Going to raise to 25,000. Stout folds. Kevin Saul, ace-3. He'll fold. Now Stephen Miller throws it away. But Andy Black catching pocket tens. He'll call.
Go. Come on, give me something for once.
Now Nicholas Putt with a king-jack suited.
All in.
And he goes all in for 38,000.
That's it, yeah.
Desperate times do indeed call for desperate measures, but with a raise and a caller in front of Nick Putt, he probably could have found a better spot.
Nina Murata just raised to 85,000.
How much is it to me?
And that actually is doing Nick Putt a favor if this thins the field and gets Andy Black to fold.
Well, Andy Black giving it a lot of thought here. And he calls.
We've got two pots now. The main pot for 143,000 and a side pot between Murata and Black for 82,000.
On the flop, 8-6-5, two hearts.
And that's a great flop for the all-in player, Nick Putt. Big flush draw.
100.
But it does look like Murata's reaching for chips.
What did he say?
He's going to bet 100,000. All Murata has is a king high.
Fold. Okay, I fold.
Yeah, and Andy Black seems genuinely irked. The idea in tournaments is to knock out every other player. Putt is all in with his tournament at stake.
How? What are you doing? I mean, it's not...
And Murata's bet there with merely a king high got Black with the best hand to fold.
Fuck, I had the best hand, of course.
Murata gave protection to Nick Putt, and Andy Black does not appreciate it.
Meanwhile, Putt still has a chance here. He needs a heart or a jack. He doesn't get it on the turn. It's a king.
That's so sick.
And that's no help to Putt because Murata has him outkicked. Nick Putt will need a jack or a heart, or he's done with the Aussie Millions.
It is a 5 of clubs, and Putt will be eliminated.
Well, good luck, everyone.
The native of Adelaide, Australia, will pocket $20,000 for his efforts, and Nina Murata has now topped $600,000 in chips.
So that's how it's going to be. That was terrible.
I think I still got you in the end, but didn't I?
What? You're just bluffing.
Yeah, but the king dropped, so...
Should have gone with my raid. Just stuck it in.
Can Andy Black stay away from Tilty Town? We'll find out.
Who jammed the copier?
Yeah.
AbsolutePoker.com. You in?
Welcome back to the main event of the 2008 Aussie Millions from the Crown Melbourne Casino. While vacationing down under, a trip to the zoo can always provide a unique up-close look at some of the wildlife which is indigenous to Australia. Kangaroos, koalas, emus, wombats, they can all be found just a short ride from the Crown Melbourne.
And Eric Seidel has become a gamekeeper himself with his stuffed wombat, who I see has gotten a sponsorship deal.
I'll call Wombat Control. Action continuing at our feature table here. Stephen Miller first to act, then he'll fold. Now Andrew Black.
Raise.
With pocket eights. He's going to raise to 16,000. And Eric Seidel with the hammer.
This is going to be interesting because I still detect some steam coming out of Black's ears.
48.
48,000 to bet from Eric Seidel. That'll get D'Alessandro out and Murata. Matthew Stout follows suit. Now Kevin Saul, the 27-year-old pro from Chicago, who's just not been able to get on the gas, and he won't this time either. So now Andy Black once again, and he quickly calls.
Black has a solid hand, but let's see if he plays those cards with his head or his heart.
Here's the flop, and a great flop for Seidel.
Wow.
Ace, Queen, 10. A set of aces for Seidel. Check from Black.
And with straight and flush possibilities, I don't think Eric Seidel wants to give a free card.
And Seidel will bet 60,000, and that will take care of that. So Eric and Wally the Wombat will rake in another nice pot, and Andrew Black continues to hemorrhage.
Not exactly radiating existential joy at the moment.
Meanwhile, we check back in downstairs. Antonio Casale finds himself right back in the middle of the action again. He flopped a set against this year's third-place finisher at the World Series of Poker's main event, Raymond Rami. Rami is all in with top pair. He'll need running cards to stay in the tournament. To the turn. A 9 of spades.
That's it.
And Casale will knock out Raymond Rami. The river doesn't matter. Rami's going to finish in 46th place. He'll take home a little bit less than the $3 million he made at the World Series. However, the man who has played nearly every day at this casino since it opened in 1997 now finds himself the unlikely leader of the tournament with almost $1 million in chips.
DVD.
Quite a story back at our feature table.
Experience those emotions.
Matthew Stout going to be the first to act, and he'll fold. Kevin Saul with a 7-4, and he's going to raise to 16,000.
Kevin momentarily mistook this poker table for a blackjack table.
And Miller looking at a pretty good blackjack hand also, isn't he? And he's going to raise to 48,000. Andy Black folds, and everybody folds around back to Saul.
Saul took another shot with rags, and it looks like he'll have to lay them down again.
I'm all in.
Going all in. 204,000.
Stephen Miller, the marine biologist from Key Largo, Florida, knows that his ace-king is only badly trailing two hands, aces and kings, and I expect Stephen Miller, therefore, to call this all-in raise.
170 and change.
And Kevin Saul will not be pleased.
Saul got very impatient there.
Call.
And Miller will call.
I sand.
Uh-oh.
And it's Miller who is all in, his tournament life on the line.
That's the one Brady has.
Saul shows him the 4-7.
Will it be memorable one way or the other?
It will.
Despite how ugly this matchup looks, Kevin Saul will win 1 out of 3 times.
Here's the flop. Queen 8-3.
That was the wrong double down hand. I should have chose 8-3.
He went with a 4-7 instead.
See, like a 5 on the turn.
So now the turn. It is a 5.
Sweat card.
That gives Kevin Saul 4 additional outs. He's looking for a 4, 6, or 7 on the
How
river.
about this? No paint or ace, and I think I have a legitimate shot.
Or a 7 or 6.
I know, but no paint or ace, and I have a legitimate shot.
You don't deserve one, but you got one.
I had
And here is the river. Miller's tournament life at risk. It is a jack of diamonds, and Miller will double up. And for Saul, a chip and a chair.
Actually, 2.
But you guys didn't expect me to flip that over.
That wasn't what I put you on. You're right, Kevin.
Pretty ridiculous, this game they call poker.
Welcome back to the main event of the FullTiltPoker.net Aussie Millions Poker Championship. On the main poker room floor, Tiffany Williamson just moved all in. She's got pocket sixes. She was called by Mike Chrysanthopoulos from Melbourne, who turned over pocket queens. Tiffany's going to need a lot of help here in order to stay alive in this tournament. Here is the flop. Oh, a 6 and a queen. They have both flopped sets. Mike C, of course, the bigger one. And the door for Tiffany starting to close.
Yeah, that flop, ironically, has lessened her chances. She's down to 1 card in the deck to survive. The 1 remaining 6.
And she doesn't get it, and Tiffany Williamson, who played great for 3 days, was the last woman remaining, still will take home a check for $30,000 for her efforts, and the local kid sees his stack rise to over $900,000. Meanwhile, across the room, room, the largest pot of the tournament so far. Melbourne native Antonio Casale has gotten his chips all in with a set of aces against Alexei Rosenberg, who flopped an unlucky set of sixes.
It's nearly the identical situation we just saw.
7 of spades on the turn, no help to Rosenberg. He'll need the case 6 on the river or lose this massive pot. The river, a 5 of hearts. Antonio Casale extends his chip lead here in the late going. He gets a congratulatory handshake from Mike Chrysanthopoulos. A couple of Melbourne residents beginning to establish themselves at the Aussie Millions. So here's where we stand. 35 remaining players, and now we go to 6-handed play. Chip leader Antonio Casale over 1.5 million chips. 6-handed play beginning here on our feature table. Tables have changed, and 4 new players have joined Eric Seidel and Andy Black. Dusan Stefsky folds. Now Peter Ling. He's got an ace-7, but he'll fold. Eric Seidel now with pocket 10s. And he is going to raise it up. 24,000. Matt Lagarde will fold. Now it's over to Andy Black with an ace-3.
He only has 170,000 left, and he gets frisky.
He goes all in for that 170,000. That gets Robert Holster out. Now back to Seidel.
I call.
And he will call.
Hit an ace for me.
Andrew Black's tournament is now at stake.
Oh, well, I'm never going to make it through this one.
Actually, he will survive 1 out of 4 times.
Oh, it's not going to happen.
He's got 1 step toward the door. Here's the flop. 8-6-3.
The hard way.
Black has paired his 3, but to avoid elimination, he'll need another 3 or an ace.
Now to the turn. It is an 8.
I think I got the rucksack this time.
He started the day in such good shape, and now Andrew Black is down to his final card. If it is not a 3 or an ace, he's done.
And here is the river. And he's done. 5 of hearts on the river. Eric Seidel will take down this pot, and the end of the tournament for Andy Black, who finished 3rd here last year. So Andy Black's quest to finally win a major event is going to have to wait yet again. But Eric Seidel and his new poker buddy Wally will end the night in a comfortable position. It was moving day at the largest tournament ever played in the Southern Hemisphere.
Congratulations, you're in the money.
While many came away with that empty feeling,
That was terrible.
others found moments to last them a lifetime.
Pretty ridiculous, this game they call poker.
The remaining players look to finish strong, with their sights set on making a run at the final table.
He's my pick to win from here.
For Michael Koenig, I'm Barry Tompkins. So long, everybody.